look at two simple chord grips for diminished seventh chords. Now in jazz and even blues, it's common to use diminished seventh chords as a substitution for functioning dominant chords. So to demonstrate this, we're going to use a simple 2-5-1 chord progression in the key of E flat major. Our chords are F minor 7, B flat 7, and E flat major 7. Now this B flat 7 chord, this is our dominant 5 chord, and this is where we're going to use our diminished seventh chord substitutions. Now the way I learned this was to just find the third of the chord. So in the case of B flat, it would be the note D, and then build a diminished seventh chord from that note. So to do that, all we have to do is stack parallel minor thirds. So from D, we go up to F, from F to A flat, from A flat up to B. And we can use this simple chord grip right here to play a D diminished seventh chord. This is the 5th fret of the A string, 6th fret of the D string, 4th fret of the G string, and 6th fret of the B string. Now if we look at this chord as it relates to B flat, we get the major third, the flat 7, the flat 9, and the 5th on top. So we're imparting the sound of a dominant flat 9 chord, which is a great altered voicing for a 2-5-1. So the great thing about these diminished seventh chords is that they're symmetrical. Since they're constructed by just stacking parallel minor thirds, we can actually move these chord grips around in minor thirds, and we just get different inversions of the chord. So we have 4 different spots we can play the same exact chord grip. And with each one of those spots, we can use it as part of our 2-5-1. So, if we play an F minor triad right here, we can link that up with this D diminished seventh chord as a substitute for our 5 chord, and then go to our 1 chord, our E flat major 7. And we can do that all over the place. We can play our 2 chord, our F minor here, to a B diminished seventh chord, the same chord grip, just move down a minor third, and then link that up with E flat major 7. So we have these all over the place. We've got, and then we can move it up another position, F minor 7, F diminished 7, and then E flat major 7. And then our 4th and final position, we've got F minor 7 here to our A flat diminished 7th chord grip, and then to E flat major 7 here. So I'm going to play these 4 versions of a 2-5-1 along to a backing track so you can hear this with some musical context. Alright, so the second chord grip I want to show you is on the top 4 strings, and we can do a similar thing of moving this simple shape to 4 different spots and linking it up with our other chords to make a 2-5-1. So this one, we're going to start with a D diminished 7th down here with an open D string, and then we're going to play A flat, open B, and then F. So we're just fretting the 1st fret of the G string and the high E string, and then playing 2 open strings. And then we can move that up to an F diminished chord right here, or F diminished 7th. That's those notes right there. And then we can move that up another minor third and another minor third. And again, we can link these up with our other chords to make a 2-5-1. So we can play F minor to D diminished, and then E flat major 7. we can just move this around. There's F minor to F diminished, and then to the top part of an E flat major 7. And again, we've got F minor, there's our A flat diminished 7th, and then our E flat major 7. And our final one is F minor 7 to B diminished 7th, and then nice E flat major 7. So some really cool voicings. You can see how close everything is when we think this way. It kind of breaks us away from playing chunkier bar chords where we're kind of always jumping down and playing a low root note. You kind of see these close relationships between the notes and the chords. Play these really nice little moves that have a lot of common tones and natural voice leading. So once again, I'll play these 4 positions along to a backing track for a little context. So we covered some examples of a major 2-5-1, but this concept works over any type of functioning dominant chord, meaning a chord that's acting as a dominant 5 chord. So any of your secondary dominant chords or your dominant 5 chord in the key you're in. So let's look at another example. We're going to look at a minor 2-5-1 in the key of C minor. So our chords are going to be D minor 7 flat 5 to G7, and finally C minor 7. Now what's great about this is these same diminished 7th chord grips work just as well over this G7. If we look at the notes built from the third of G7, we have B up to D, then F, and then A flat or flat 9. So the exact same notes that we used over the B flat 7, we can use over G7. So all of these same chord grips, B diminished, D diminished, F diminished, and A flat diminished, work equally well for G7. So we can do all these really nice things. There's D half diminished, down to D diminished 7th, down to C minor. We can play it, in all these positions. Some really nice, pretty chord options. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to link up our major 2-5-1 in E flat major with this minor 2-5-1 in C minor. And these are kind of like the opening chords to the standard I Fall in Love Too Easily. And we're going to play through this. I'm going to play along to the backing track, and I'm going to move through the 4 positions. And you see how I'm using these same exact diminished 7th chords with the major 2-5-1 and with the minor 2-5-1. So the chord progression is going to be F minor 7 to B flat 7 to E flat major 7, and then D minor 7 flat 5 to G7 to C minor. But I'm going to use our 4 positions of diminished chords over those functioning dominant chords. So, I can play F minor, B diminished, E flat major 7, and then I can play D minor 7 flat 5, again with the B diminished, but this time G will be in the bass, and then resolving to C minor 7 or C minor 9 in this context. But I'll play that along to the backing track, and you can hear what that sounds like along with the drums and bass. right, so what I just played through there was the 4 positions of our 2-5-1s using these lower voicings of our diminished 7th chords. Of course, we can do the same thing with our top 4-string voicings. And that can be a little homework assignment for you. Work through those on your own the same way we just did with those lower voicings playing over these 2-5-1s. But once you kind of get this stuff together and you get comfortable with it, this becomes a really powerful tool with comping and supporting a melody. So what I'm going to do now is I've recorded the melody to this tune. I just played it on guitar and along with our drums and bass. And now I'm just going to comp along with that. And you can hear how I use these diminished 7th chords to support the melody and to add some nice color and harmony to the backing track. So I'm going to play along through the melody and I'll move some of the voicings around and just kind of use this stuff the way I would if I was comping under a soloist or a singer. So one of the great things about working through these diminished chords in all these positions and connecting them together with the surrounding chords and kind of giving yourself a musical context to work in is that wherever you wind up on the fretboard, wherever you end up playing, you always have the next chord nearby. That's one of the big revelations that I think helped me and helps a lot of players, is just understanding that wherever you are on the fretboard, you actually have voicings for any chord you want to play. It's just a matter of sitting there and kind of breaking it down and figuring out what notes you need to get under your fingers to highlight the sound of the chord you're trying to play over. So one last thing before we go. This type of analyzing and understanding harmony is obviously great for comping and playing rhythm parts, but it's also sort of the gateway into opening up playing chord melody. Now, playing chord melody is a pretty complex thing that honestly, requires its own lesson, but I put together a simple little chord melody example for this tune and this melody that uses some of these diminished 7th chords. So I'm going to leave you just by playing through that, and you can kind of look at it and listen to it and pick up where I'm using some of these diminished 7th voicings as substitutions for our functioning dominant chords, and how I use that to harmonize and highlight the melody. So until next time, happy practicing and take care.